You know, some of the world's most incredible monuments, they're wrapped in stories that are somehow even grander than the stones they're built from. Today, we're diving headfirst into one of those, a legend of magic, love, and some serious vengeance that tries to explain one of Southeast Asia's greatest architectural wonders.
So picture this. That's the impossible challenge laid down by a princess, Rara Jonggrang, to a powerful prince named Bandung Bondowoso. See, he just conquered her kingdom, killed her father, and now he wants to marry her. So to get out of it, she demands something she thinks is absolutely impossible.
So yeah, the stage is set. You've got this prince who also happens to be a powerful sorcerer, and he is determined to win her over. And then you have the princess, who is just as determined to stop him. For the prince, failure just means losing a bride. But for the princess, this could mean losing everything. But here's the thing, this was no ordinary prince. Using his magical powers, Bandung Bondowoso summons a massive army of genies, spirits from deep inside the earth. And as soon as the moon is up, they get to work. Stone after stone, spire after spire, this entire city of temples starts just materializing out of the darkness at a crazy speed. And as dawn gets closer, they've somehow, unbelievably, finished 999 of them.
Rara Jonggrang sees this. She realizes the impossible is actually about to happen. So she comes up with this brilliant plan. She orders all her maids to light huge fires in the east, making it look like the sun is rising. At the exact same time, they're pounding rice mortars, which back then was the traditional sound of a new day starting. Well, the roosters get fooled, they start crowing, and the genies, who are terrified of daylight, just vanish back into the earth, leaving that 1,000th temple totally unfinished.
Well, when the prince discovers he's been tricked, any love he had just evaporates. It turns into pure rage. He's got one temple left to build, right? So he turns his power on the princess herself. He shouts this terrible curse, and in a flash, she's turned into a stone statue, the most beautiful and the final piece of his 1,000-temple project. It is a fantastic tale, and locals will tell you her statue is still there, standing inside the main temple at Prambanan. But this legend is more than just a story. It's a mythical way of explaining a very real and a very powerful kingdom. So what's the real story behind all these stones? Okay, so let's pull back the curtain on the myth. Behind it, there's a real kingdom, a civilization that had the power, the wealth, and the genius to create these masterpieces all on their own, no genies required. The real builders, they were the people of the Ancient Mataram Kingdom, sometimes called Madang. For more than 200 years, they were the dominant power on the island of Java, and they created this cultural and architectural legacy that has stood for over 1,000 years. Now this timeline, it shows a really fast rise and a really mysterious shift. For almost 200 years, the kingdom is in this golden age of building. This is when they built both Prambanan and its incredible neighbor, Borobudur. But then, right around 929 CE, something strange happens. The entire kingdom just relocates, and about a century later, it all collapses. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. The story of Mataram isn't the story of just one single, unified group. It's actually a tale of two powerful dynasties, living side by side, sometimes competing, and each following a different major religion. So right here, we can see the two major powers in the kingdom. On one side, you have the Hindu Sanjaya dynasty. They're the ones who built the towering temples of Prambanan. And on the other side, you have the Buddhist Shailander dynasty, and they're responsible for that colossal monument, Borobudur. So you have two faiths, two ruling families, two totally different architectural styles, all flourishing at the same time in the same place. And you can literally see their different philosophies carved right into the stone. Prambanan reaches up, soaring for the heavens with these sharp, slender towers that are all dedicated to the Hindu gods. Borobudur, though, it's this massive, wide, pyramidal structure. It's basically a giant stone mandala that represents the entire Buddhist cosmos and the journey to enlightenment. Okay, so this brings us right back to the original legend. That whole story of genies building 1,000 temples overnight, it was a way to make sense of an almost superhuman feat of engineering. So if it wasn't magic, how in the world did they actually do it? The answer wasn't supernatural, but it was incredibly well organized. See, the kingdom was built on this amazingly fertile volcanic soil, which is just perfect for growing rice.
This created a huge surplus of food, which the kingdom then collected through taxes. And all that wealth allowed them to feed and support a massive labor force to work on these construction projects that took decades to finish.
And there was a really powerful motivation, too. The rulers in the Mataram Kingdom weren't just kings. They were seen as a Devaraja, or a god king. They were thought to be a living god on earth. So building a massive temple complex wasn't just a project. It was a sacred duty. It was how they proved their divine status and created a legacy that would last forever. But after centuries of building these eternal monuments in central Java, the kingdom did something baffling. It basically packed up its bags and left.
Think about it. The year is around 929 CE. For hundreds of years, this area has been the heart of their world. They've built their legacy here. And then, almost out of nowhere, the royal court is abruptly moved all the way to East Java. The great temples? They're just abandoned. And the reason for this sudden move is still one of Indonesia's greatest historical mysteries. Historians are still debating why. Was it a massive, catastrophic eruption from the nearby volcano, Mount Merapi, which they might have seen as a bad omen from the gods? Was it political pressure from the rival Srivijaya Empire, which was a huge maritime power at the time? Or was it just a smart strategic move to the east to get better control of valuable sea trade routes? The truth is, we still don't know for sure.
So in the end, the Mataram Kingdom built these incredible monuments to last forever. Yet the kingdom itself just vanished from its own heartland. What survived wasn't just the stone, but the stories, the myths of cursed princesses and the historical truths of god kings. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? As we build our own world today, what legends and what truths will remain of us 1,000 years from now?